UFC Vegas 108. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and make sure you share the video too. And also note, I'll be live for the entire card Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss the fight companion. And let's get into the first fight of the night. The ladies are going after it. Pierre Rodriguez versus Ketlen Souza. If you don't know, Ketlen Souza has been my pick all week, and she's the savage dog lock. 6 out of the last 7, either straight underdog money line or 2-leg plus money parlay been coming through. And I think 7 out of 8 with a Brazilian savage like Ketlen Souza makes sense. Now, when I think about the matchup, I feel like Ketlen Souza's striking's better than Pierre Rodriguez. She's the harder puncher. I think she's the faster striker. With Pierre Rodriguez, she has a decent takedown threat and she smothers girls all right, but not a submission ace. Not known for her offensive threat with subs at all. When she really fought a grappler with like a notable skill set, she got exposed pretty bad by Jillian Robertson. I think she could take Ketlen Souza down, but I have a hard time envisioning Pierre Rodriguez wrestle fucking her. Then when I think about the stand up, I think it's pretty back and forth with Souza having better punching. And I would say being a little bit faster too. I feel like Souza lands more significant shots in a competitive 3-round affair. I say 29-28 Souza will make sense. I think Rodriguez has some moments. I think she'll back her up and look to rip some wild shots over the top and then tie up with Souza and looks for trips against the cage. Souza's footwork's pretty good. I think she's going to be smoother just in the stand-up in general, like not even just throwing strikes, just looking smoother, where Pierre Rodriguez is going to be more on that bite down on the mouthpiece, pressure-based offense, which she's known for. Her stand-up game is not bad, though. I mean, she's a considerably good striker for women's MMA, but I think Ketlen Souza is like a really sharp stand-up fighter. I think she's got good potential. I'm going to say Ketlen Souza can get it done. Her grappling skill set has improved seemingly, and I expect her to be able to fight off Pierre Rodriguez's top game. Not saying she stops every takedown. I could see Pierre getting her to the ground, but I do think Ketlen Souza finds ways back up to the feet if and potentially when she's taken down. So the side of Ketlen Souza has been the pick, but it's not just about the pick. All right. We got to look at the ladies on the scales and we'll see. Now, first note that I have to make, Ketlen Souza did have the box brought in. All right. So, maybe the weight cut wasn't the easiest thing in the world. She came in at 116, right on the cusp. Still didn't look deteriorated all that much on the scale. I mean, you can look at her face. She doesn't look like incredibly drained and sucked out. Seemed like she had a typical weight cut and she made the 116-pound non-title limit. And then there's Pierre Rodriguez on the opposite side. She actually looked very happy to be there. She has some confidence about her with the smile on her face. Looked pretty filled out. Didn't seem to have too much trouble with the weight cut either. Probably an easier weight cut than the side of Ketlen Souza. We'll look at the face-off and let's feel the energy as they went face-to-face. What you're going to see in a second here, as I just totally botched it here. Hold on. Almost brought up the wrong thing here, chat. Now we got Rob Whitaker and DeRitter, bro. We're on the fly right now. I just replaced the banner with the damn weigh-in face-off, so my apologies. Let's bring these ladies up and let's give it a look, man. All right? Woo, where is she? There's an intense glare from Piera. There's the face-off. Girls are of similar size. I mean, ever so slight height edge towards Piera, but might have been wearing shoes, to be honest. I really don't think there's a size difference between the girls. I mean, looking at their frames, very similar. I feel like Pierre Rodriguez got those thicker traps, though. I feel like she's got a better chin on her. I think if somebody's landing bombs, it's more likely to be Ketlen Souza. I said Pierre got bigger traps. Nah, Ketlen got the bigger traps. I think Trap City Ketlen Souza could do pretty well in this fight. I expect her to be able to crack Pierre Rodriguez with some key counter hooks. I do think there's moments for both. I do think it's competitive and it's a hard-fought 3-rounder, but I'm going to pick Ketlen Souza to win. She was real close with Angela Hill. She has that impressive win over Haragi as well. And I think Pierre Rodriguez is decent, but I don't know, man. I feel like Ketlen Souza could come together pretty well in this fight. 29, really entering her prime now. I expect a bit of a breakout performance. I mean, some people thought that she should have won the decision against Angela Hill. I think she demands a lot of respect. Let's look at the odds for this fight. So, minus 220 for Pierre Rodriguez. At open, it was minus 300. So, wide lines all week. They were closer earlier in the week. Ketlen Souza getting no love as a dog. She's sitting at plus 185, but I'm giving her love as a dog. I think she's going to go out and win. I respect the Brazilian Savage Lady underdogs. Last week with Tabitha Ricci, it was a success. This is obviously a different fight, but still a Savage Brazilian in Ketlen Souza that I think coming through. Over at minus 340 is pretty live here. Souza by KO sits at plus 750. Don't think so. Souza by decision plus 225. Souza by submission at plus 1200. Two submission wins. Can you imagine she catches Pierre Rodriguez with a shot and then like scrambles to either a gilly or potentially a rear naked choke and clubs and subs her? It's not impossible for Souza sub. Plus 1200 seems way too wide for a submission in this fight. The jiu-jitsu of Pierre Rodriguez is not what she's known for, but she does have the takedowns. I feel like jiu-jitsu wise, Souza's in the fight. Rodriguez most takedowns, minus 1,000. Souza most significant strikes, plus 160. I think she hits on most significant strikes. Souza over 43 and a half significant, maybe, but tough to call because if she did club and sub, it'd be less. The spread on Souza at minus 165 also looks pretty good. If you don't want to play Savage underdog money line, I do think Souza at worst can take a round here in this fight against Piera. I don't see her getting dogged for 3 rounds. I think she outdogs Piera Rodriguez. But even if you're on Piera's side, I think you recognize the threat. So Ketlen Souza spread might be something for some of y'all to consider. Savage dog, Ketlen Souza, lock it up. Next fight on the card, we got Felipe Bunes versus Rafael Estevam. All week, I have been picking Rafael Estevam, but I have mentioned the yellow flag, which is his gas tank. Does have good first 2 rounds, though. Bunes on the other side, he's got good jiu-jitsu, but not like he's that high level. I mean, he got Johnson quick, and he was an underdog there. Fight before that, Joshua Van wilted him. Estevam 2-0 in the UFC, even the win over Charles Johnson, which has aged really well, ultimately. Did lose the 3rd round in both of his UFC fights against Jesus Aguilar and Johnson. But early, he looks dominant. Took this fight on short notice, and he missed weight. We'll bring the scales up in a moment. But note, Rafael Estevam over the limit by 4 pounds, and he came in on short notice. The gas tank woes worry me a bit, but seeing that he didn't even really try to get that weight all the way down, I think that might have been a bit calculated. Fucking Bunes came in championship weight, 125. Bunes is tricky on the feet. He's a little awkward with his striking. Estevam's the better wrestler of the two, and he's the better top base grappler. Bunes has submission threats, but I don't think he's going to hit an arm bar or a triangle from bottom position. So really the only way I see Bunes winning is a later stage submission of a gassed out Estevam, but I'm not even certain that Estevam's going to gas out in this one. I mean, it could be like a cruise control type dominant decision win. Potentially though, Estevam finishing Bunes by KO. I wouldn't be shocked if Estevam put him away with some ground and pound here because I don't know what Bunes. I feel like he can be outworked. I don't think he's got the greatest gas tank ever. And I think that Estevam might be able to break him with a high work rate. So the pick is Estevam. It has been all week. Nothing changing on the prediction post weigh-in, but still, worth mentioning a couple of the, talking points between the two. Now, I am going to bring up the scales in just a second, and we'll see where these savages are at. I was seeing if I had the number written down on what page to find them. Hopefully it's quick, and yes, it is. Estevam on the scale, he looks like a bantamweight. Let's just keep it real. He's 130 pounds. He's probably going to be forced to move up. I don't think that he drained himself out to cut that much weight, but obviously has very low body fat, visible muscle bellies and shit. In shape coming in on short notice, but not in shape enough to make 125, I guess. Not that he doesn't have the gas tank or anything like that, but to make 125 on short notice for a guy that struggles on the scale in general, trouble. Then we got the Brazilian Neo from the Matrix here. I think Bunes, just with the shades alone, is getting fucking beat, man. I don't know, man. Something's telling me this ain't the picture of the winner of the fight at the weigh-ins beforehand. But let's look at the face-off. Let's feel the energy between the two of them, and let's bring it up now. Little bit of a height edge, Estevam, not much. Physicality-wise, similar. We got a weight miss from the side of Estevam, but he really doesn't look that much bigger. I do think that, extra 4 pounds, actually in this fight, extra 5 pounds on him, that could help him come round number three. That definitely could help him in the grappling entanglements. I feel like he already has a technical edge over the side of Estevam. So now add on a little bit more weight to you. I feel like this should be an Estevam win. He's too wide of a favorite, and like you have to worry about his third round, but he is an undefeated pro. He's a minus 650 favorite here. Bunes plus 475. If you've been watching throughout the week, you know I mentioned maybe a later stage win for Bunes if you're thinking about it. Estevam, though, something interesting here could be Estevam inside the distance. Let's bring it up. Estevam inside the distance is not an impossibility. He does have a threat of finish, plus 140 range for Estevam inside the distance. I think that Bunes could be stopped. I mean, we've seen him stopped in his most recent losses. Estevam's grappling skills are good. He's going to have some ground and pound. He's got wins by ground and pound. I think Estevam can pull it off, but Bunes to win in the third round might be his best chance. That's upwards of plus 2,000. That's completely degenerate, but it's something worth mentioning. I definitely feel like some folks are going to like that Bunes spread at plus 140 to make it competitive. See, they miss market here, but the plus 140 is for if he loses by 3.5 points or less, not wins by 3.5 points or more. Just so you know, that would be plus 550. Just a note. The over on strikes, I mean, maybe. It's, maybe. I'm not crazy about it. But yeah, I'll pick Estevam. I think he wins the fight. I think Estevam wins the wrestling battle. Most takedowns landed is minus 1,200, favoring the side of Estevam. He's live for a ground and pound stoppage, but don't be shocked if it's a 29-28 decision where he dominates the first two and then gasses come round number three. But I don't feel like Bunes is reliable coming that third round. He's also never won a fight in the third round. I checked that stat because I'm like, how many third round comeback finishes does he have? Zero. First or second round for all his finishes. And I don't rate him as like a high gas tank fighter. I'll say Estevam is able to control and pull through. Potentially a KO finish, ground and pound. Maybe even Bunes gassed out, gets submitted. There's a chance Estevam takes it on the cards, but he might show levels in this fight. 13-0 as a pro, and he missed weight by 4 pounds. A lot of advantages going his way. Next fight on the card, we have Austin Bashi versus John Yannis. So this is a late notice edition. Bashi and Yannis is taking place at 145. Note that Yannis has fought at bantamweight a lot. I think that Bashi should probably dominate this fight. Yannis coming in on 5 days notice. I think he's going to get outworked in this spot in the grappling department. But I'll speak of some positives. Yannis does have decent hands. He rips his punch combinations pretty nicely. Got a little bit of power, can rip to the body well, and I consider him a good striker brawler type on the feet. As far as his grappling skills, he's got will to fight his way out of positions, but technically speaking, Austin Bashi is going to have a big advantage in wrestling and jiu-jitsu. I think he's going to be a lot slicker in transitions on the mat and control. I think Bashi more than likely is able to win this fight by submission within the first 2 rounds here over Yannis. Yannis' most recent loss was also to a submission artist. It was 4 fights ago. So a little bit of time has passed, like almost 2 years, a year and 4 months, year and a half against Gabriel Wanderlei, who's 3-1. Now he's taking on a 13-1 Bashi. Nothing about what he's done recently tells me he's beaten Bashi. Yannis is coming off of that win over ex-UFC fighter Nick Aguirre. And Yannis had his back taken a bit in that fight, but then he outdogged him in the later stages, was able to drop some heavy shots, and then put him down and out in round number 4. I don't see him doing that to Bashi. Bashi lost his UFC debut to C-Rod, but C-Rod's a tough out for everybody off a debut. Come on. Come on. C-Rod's known as the prospect killer. I don't see Bashi selling here against John Yannis. He should be pretty close to a lock, and I think it's highly likely that he wins the fight by submission. Now, we'll check out the scales between the two of them. First, we'll bring up the side of Bashi, who's sitting right here, and he looks in shape for this spot, man. He looks jacked as hell, shredded up. This is a dominant grappler build that he has as, a shorter featherweight, but does have some good physical strength. And I think the attributes in the grappling are going to end up being like key difference makers between the two. Also, I'll bring up Giannis's pick. He was left out. All right. But we got the pick right here. Looks okay on the scale. To be honest, I thought immediately, I'm like, yo, looks kind of like a chubby and less tatted version of D-Rod. Like he looks like D-Rod's younger cousin or something like that, fighting down at 145. But you also look at him and you can tell this is a bantamweight build. And I think ultimately there's going to be a level of physicality that separates the two by just too much of a margin. I mean, look at the face off, right? Look at the build difference. Look at the muscles on Austin Bashi, right? Jacked, shredded up. To be honest, bro, Giannis kind of has that Nate Diaz physique. I think there's no chance that he's surviving the grappling pressure of Austin Bashi. I'm going to say Bashi dominates this fight on the ground, and I'm going to say he does win by submission. I think highly likely he does it within the first two. Obviously, if you're on the money line side of things, there's nothing for you because he's an 8-1 favorite. It is what it is. And then looking towards under 2.5, around minus 156, I think it's likely feel like Bashi's finishing threat is kind of being slept on here a bit. Bashi by submission is minus 115. I will predict Bashi wins the fight by submission. I'll also assume Bashi dominates the fight, minus 400 for that minus 3.5 spread. Yeah, he probably gets 30-27s, 30-26s evens if it goes distance, but I think he's going to finish the fight too. Most takedowns, Bashi at minus 2,000. Bashi to win by sub, but what round does he win by sub in? Because that's maybe where you can make a little money. If Bashi gets a second round win, it's plus 350. Bashi's second round submission plus 500. You're probably better off going plus 350, but if you're looking to chase, 5-1 money, Bashi win by sub round two. Bashi has a lot of wins in the second round, 1 TKO in the second, 3 submissions in the second. So 4 of his victories are in the second round. Does have a good ability to win in the first round too, has 3 first round finishes, but second round seems more likely as he wears on Giannis. Giannis is not some bum. I think he's going to get out grappled and outworked. He's a tough brawler for sure, but there's a level difference in the grappling and physicality side that I just can't overlook. I like Bashi to win by finish in the second round. I'll favor submission. It wouldn't be insane if it was ground and pound either. So Bashi round two could be a D-gen prop if you're looking to chase some plus money. I do think submission is live as well, which is minus 115, but a lot less fun as opposed to that second round win for Bashi. So the call, Bashi to dominate the fight and get a finish. Next fight on the card, it's Nick Klein versus Andrey Pulyaev. I have been picking Andrey Pulyaev throughout the week. I think that his slicker striking game becomes a key difference maker between the two of these guys. Gonna have a bit of a height and reach advantage too, and we'll bring up the face-offs in a second, and it's fucking legit. Pulyaev is a very lanky southpaw, has pretty good peppering punches, and I'd say good timing on his shots too. Not a bum in the grappling department, defensively sound, and offers a submission threat as well. On the opposite side, Nick Klein, I mean, blue collar Klein, he's like the essence of what being blue collar is. He's a gritty pressure fighter, has some solid wrestling, is able to bring pressure and get people down and submit them. And he's had good performances, but my issue with Klein, I don't know about how the chin holds up with Pulyaev, and I don't know how much the gas tank holds up. I don't see Klein just wrestle fucking Pulyaev. And when I look at Klein's striking arsenal, what I see in his stand-up game is a bit of flat-footedness. And I think that he's slower on his feet than Pulyaev, enough so where the difference in speed could cement some like big shots from Pulyaev down the center. I feel like Klein with that like that slanted stance, he kind of dips one side and presses. He's going to be too slow in the striking, so he's going to need this fight on the ground. The issue is, I don't think Pulyaev is just getting wrestle fucked. I'm not saying it's impossible for Klein to back him up against the cage. I'm not saying it's impossible for Klein to land a takedown or two, but I don't see him just controlling Pulyaev for the majority of the fight and submitting him. I think Pulyaev, being, a tough Russian fighter from that Alexander Shlemenko fight team, I think he's going to be able to fend off Nick Klein's attacks. He's got more pro experience too. He's going to be faster on the feet with more knockout power. I think Andrey Pulyaev is probably cracking Nick Klein with some big shots in this one. And I'm feeling like Pulyaev is live to go out there and get a second or third round KO even. We saw Klein do well early against Abdul Malik, and then he fell apart come round number 2. He ends up getting stopped in the fight. Let's check out the scales and let's look at these savages here. All right. First things first, where is he? Andrey Pulyaev. He's skinny and lanky. He's the definition of such. Skinny, lanky, strikers build. And you'll see in the face-off, he actually has a legit height advantage. But definitely in shape. Nick Klein looking pretty fucking stacked with muscle. An absolute savage blue-collar guy. It's kind of like Country McGregor meets the middleweight division. That's the vibe that he gives off here. And he's definitely in fucking crazy shape for this fight. I'm expecting him to look to chain wrestle and pressure, but I think Pulyaev could be a lot harder to take down than people expect. Then when you look at the face-off, Pulaev's got that legit height advantage. 6'4" striker. These guys are not easy to take down. That height edge is going to be a factor. With the imbalance of leverages in the clinch, I see the side of Andrey Pulyaev fighting off Klein's grappling attempts there. I expect Klein to look to close the gap. I think he has a hard time like just landing takedowns in the open mat. So he's going to look to press Pulyaev backwards. In doing so, I do think he garners some control time against the cage, but I expect Pulaev's clinch grappling defense to be pretty on point. And I have a hard time just seeing Klein running through him like a piece of fucking hot butter or something like that. I don't see it. I think Pulaev's going to turn this into a bit of a dirty fight. He'll create some distance in striking and then start landing some clean shots. With a strike speed advantage that's obvious, I see him touching that Klein chin, and I don't know if that Klein chin can hold up. I think Klein's a tough pressure-based bruiser, but I think the slicker fighter on the side of Andrey Pulyaev is too technically sound, and I think his height advantage also is a factor because he's really not a wide-framed individual. He's just got long-ass arms, and with straight punches, I see those long arms nailing Nick Klein down the center line, specifically that straight left. Pulyaev is minus 150 here. Klein at plus 130. I like the chances for Pulyaev to tune him up on the feet. Now, as far as the over 1.5, minus 175, I feel like it's live. I think Pulaev's second or third round KO could be live, but granted, you could end up getting busted on that over 1.5. Looking towards the KO side, Pulyaev KO sits at plus 180. I think he lands more significant strikes throughout the fight. Pulyaev most significant strikes is minus 220. Klein expected to land more takedowns. It's minus 325. Over 40 significant strikes for Pulyaev? I lean yes. I lean yes. I think Pulyaev does work from distance striking. I think he could catch Nick Klein in this one. Klein's looking to pressure wrestle, control, and probably submit or maybe ground and pound. I don't think Pulyaev just gets bullied out there. I think he creates space well. I think he fends off the grappling attack pretty nicely. And I think Andrey Pulyaev is live to take this thing home. So I'm going to go Pulyaev to win. I think KO, but unanimous decision isn't crazy, but I'll favor him stopping Nick Klein in the second or third round. Klein doesn't have a lot of head movement. Like I said, a bit flat-footed. Pulyaev slicker in the stand-up. I think he drops some bombs. So Pulyaev, the skinny Russian savage, to beat the All-American Nick Klein. Next fight on the card, we have Rodolfo Vieira versus Tresean Gore. We got the jiu-jitsu ace himself, Rodolfo Vieira, taking on powerful striker Tresean Gore. My pick has been Rodolfo Vieira all week, but Tresean Gore is dangerous with punch power. I mean, he can rip big shots, even has a ghillie submission threat that he brings, but he's not going to get Vieira with. Red flag, though. Red flag, and it's a weird lapse in mentality that I worry about with Tresean Gore. He is not the size of a UFC light heavyweight, but he missed weight by 4.5 pounds here. We're going to bring up the scales in a moment, and you guys will see. I don't think Tresean Gore tortured himself to attempt a 185 make. I actually have a conspiracy that I'll put out now. I believe this to be one of those calculated weight misses. The team recognizes Rodolfo Vieira is looking to grapple. and he's going to look to wear on Tresean Gore. Having an advantage on the weight side of things and not draining yourself down to the limit of middleweight is going to give him an ability to fight those grappling attempts off better and potentially land some big shots. Problem is, I don't know if it's enough. Tresean Gore has never fought anybody with near the grappling level of Rodolfo Vieira, and I can't just pick based off the maybe factor of Tresean Gore having nice striking. I think Rodolfo Vieira is going to look to pressure grapple him up against the cage, look for back takes and trips against the cage. Even if Gore's takedown defense holds up, how long is it going to hold up for? Round number one. Now, the weight miss could say, well, his gas tank will look better because he didn't drain himself. Tresean's also coming off of a bad knockout loss, which is like, what, 3 months ago? 3.5 months ago, Marco Tulio put him away. He had a couple moments in the striking, but he was getting tuned up. The thing is, I don't see Rodolfo Vieira just looking to box with him. Rodolfo Vieira is going to look to get this fight to the mat and use his jiu-jitsu. He wants to showcase that world championship grappling game. And I think Tresean Gore wilts under the grappling pressure. I don't know if he can keep it up. They always say Tresean got the wrestling background. I liked him on The Ultimate Fighter. I think he's a talented kid. I don't love the weight miss here. I think it's a hard matchup. I get the Tresean Gore supporter side, especially with him missing weight. I mean, there is an aspect of that that becomes a new advantage, which, you know, slightly changes the dynamic of the fight. But let's look. Let's check out the scales. We'll look at both of them. First things first, we got Rodolfo Vieira right in front of us, all right? Rodolfo Vieira looked absolutely jacked per usual. In shape, shredded up, ready to go. His gas tank has shown improvements over recent years, and his striking game has gotten better. I don't think he's out kickboxing Tresean. Then we got Tresean Gore. Does it look like he really tortured himself to make weight? He definitely looks in shape, got the visible abs, look pretty shredded up. But he didn't look like he tortured himself to get down. He didn't look like he was ready to pass out. It's like, all right, he cut a little weight and said, fuck this, I'm good. Is he walking around at 230 pounds? There's no excuse, man. Alex Pereira was making 185. Tresean Gore is 6 feet tall. Tresean Gore is a middleweight. Tresean Gore, if he really locked in, could potentially be a motherfucking welterweight. And he can make 185. Terrible look on the weight miss. Obviously, I am under the assumption it was a calculated decision to miss the weight, but that doesn't excuse it at all. And, you know, should be fined a serious percentage of the purse. But look at the face-off. Gore weighed more. He was 189.5. Does he look bigger than Rodolfo Vieira? I don't think so. He looks like he really didn't cut much weight, man. Respect and smiles between the two of them. I see Tresean Gore getting out-grappled. His striking's nice, but I don't think he can keep Vieira off of him. I think Vieira's second-round rear naked choke makes sense. Maybe Tresean lands some big shots early, but I think Vieira eventually finds his way into top position. The calculated weight miss for Gore is a good chance, especially if he was worried about getting cut from the UFC with the loss. But let me tell you something. Now, missing weight, if he goes out and loses, a lot higher of a chance that the UFC's releasing him. Way higher of a chance the UFC's releasing him. I think this was a massive mistake, man. Fuck, shouldn't have took the fight if you're worried about having to miss weight to fucking pull through. Tresean's plus 175, Vieira's minus 205. I don't know how these guys are missing weight this week, especially with the UFC PI right there. They can make all your meals. They can help you with your weight cut. What other tool is needed? Do they need to force feed you with a fork or something? Gore does not look to me a guy that really drained himself to try and make the weight either. I think he got lazy with the weight cut. And he said, fuck it. Let me have a little advantage over Rodolfo Vieira. I'm going to go with Vieira to go out and win by submission. Plus 130. There's a lot of Tresean Gore hype. The people are going Tresean by KO. If he gets a KO, it's probably first 2 rounds. Vieira, most takedowns is 6-1. That's not really like here. Gore over 20 significant strikes, minus 115. That might land. I think Rodolfo Vieira is going to out-grapple him, find his back, and submit him. We don't necessarily know how good Tresean's jiu-jitsu is. I believe he's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, but what the fuck does that even mean in the modern era of no-gi grappling? You know how many nasty purple belts and mid-black belts exist? What I know for sure is Rodolfo Vieira, championship-level grappling skills in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. UFC experience, big edge on the ground against Tresean Gore. I like Tresean's athleticism. I like his power. I don't like the weight miss from the respect of the sports side, but I guess I get it in looking for a chance to find any advantage possible against a black belt like this. So the pick is going to be Vieira by sub. You're not crazy for going Tresean Gore by knockout, but note that Rodolfo Vieira is known to have a pretty good chin. So something to think about too. It's not like Vieira's Mr. Glass Jaw. He got dropped by Brundage, but normally eats a decent punch. Next fight on the card, we got Rinya Nakamura versus Nathan Fletcher. This is also the featured prelim, so make sure you guys hit that like button. Rinya Nakamura over Nathan Fletcher is my pick. All right. I'm going towards the side of Rinya, and I'm not excited about it. You can hear it in my voice. I have no enthusiasm. For me, I feel like Rinya Nakamura, he's like a flat prospect. He looked really bad last time against Muin Gafarov. Yeah, couldn't get him down, and then he just got kickboxed up for 3 rounds. But to be fair to Muin Gafarov, I mean, the guy had a win over Kyung Ho Kang, had legit fights against decent opposition prior to the UFC, fought John Lineker in one championship. Rinya was at a big experience disadvantage. I mean, when you think about Nakamura, 19-6, like, dude had a shitload of pro fights, and Muin Gafarov, I said Nakamura, but I meant Gafarov, 19-6. Nakamura only 10 pro fights. Now he's fighting a prospect with, a similar experience level. Nathan Fletcher's jiu-jitsu is good. I don't know about his stand-up. It's okay. Doesn't blow me away. I feel like Rinya is going to be the better wrestler between the two of them. And I think if there's takedowns landed, it's on the side of Rinya Nakamura. And if they're grappling, though I think Nathan Fletcher has good jiu-jitsu and a submission threat from bottom, more than likely the top control of Nakamura will negate Fletcher's submission threat from that bottom position. I see Rinya probably controlling from top. I see Rinya landing some key takedowns. I see Rinya winning a competitive fight by decision. I think Fletcher could have some moments. I don't love the fact that he had that loss to Lochran. Granted, he was robbed. He won that fight, and I picked him too. He won that fight. I have no quells on it. I scored it for him, and I stand on that. But still was competitive with Lochran in that matchup. Nakamura, definitely a better wrestling threat than Lochran. It's just the odds are terrible. The odds for the fight just make you want to pick the side of Fletcher because there's stupid betting lines between the two of them. They definitely shouldn't be this wide at all. I mean, Rinya Nakamura at 2-1 as a favorite is fair, but he's like over the 4-1 line. Sorry, guys. Getting over this cold. I got a fucking few final coughs for the Savages. I want to look, though. Let's check out the scales. Let's feel the energy. Let's feel the vibes. Let's see what we're looking at from both these guys. You can see Rinya Nakamura looking in pretty damn good shape here. Ready to go. Seems enthusiastic, motivated. I mean, what is there really to say? Got the visible bicep popping and shit. And then on the opposite side, we're going to find our guy real quick. We got some more of Rinya. We got Nathan Fletcher down below, also looking in great shape. Nathan Fletcher is good, man. I like his submission game. I like Nathan Fletcher on tough. He lost on tough to Khan Ofli, who's got some decent wrestling. Granted, it was up in weight. Now he's at 135. We're going to find out everything we need to know about Nathan Fletcher and Rinya Nakamura both. The pick is still going to be Nakamura after the weigh-ins, but I refuse to call it a high confidence call, especially when, to be honest, I'm rooting against Nakamura. I hope the pick loses. I like Nathan Fletcher a lot more, and he looked great on the scale. There's the face-off. Nakamura, he's going to look to land takedowns. I could see him just getting in guard and just controlling position. It could end up being even like a bit of a snoozer in this one here. I just don't know how much I rate Nathan Fletcher's striking. His grappling game is normally with shines, and having a big disadvantage in wrestling, it's a problem. I could see Rinya getting him down and literally just sitting in guard and defending the Nathan Fletcher sub attempt. So the pick is going to be Rinya Nakamura, but, I'm pretty flat about this fight. Not much enthusiasm from me. Minus 405 to plus 305. Nakamura is a crazy wide favorite. He's always a wide favorite, undeservingly wide favorite. Over 2.5 is very likely at minus 205. I'll say yes. Nakamura decision, minus 140. Let's see. Nakamura over 40 significant, minus 115 maybe, but I can see it as a low output fight. Over 29.5 for Fletcher. Again, it could be a low output fight. Nakamura most takedowns, minus 325. I'll go the side of Rinya Nakamura to take it home, but I'm really not that high on him. I think he's okay. That's really the truth of him. I think he's an okay wrestler, athlete. I think Nathan Fletcher has good jiu-jitsu, but how good is he? It's one of those things. Tough to say. Tough to say, man. I think Rinya Nakamura wins, but it's one of those fights where like the odds are like, let me just stay away, sit back and watch and root for the underdog. So if you are betting Nathan Fletcher, my energy of support is with you, but I do think Nakamura's wrestling is probably too much. So pick Nakamura, but way too wide of a favorite to catch my eye. Next fight on the card, it brings us to our main card opener. If you guys are watching and enjoying, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button too. Danny Silva versus Kevin Vallejos in this one. I've been picking the side of Kevin Vallejos all week, as we all have. Vallejos is a pretty terrifying striker, has big power in his hands, walks people down nicely, cuts off the cage pretty well, and seems to have top 10 potential at 23 years of age. On the opposite side, Danny Silva's a tricky boxer. He's a stance switch hitter, and he's actually smooth on the feet. He's 2-0 in the UFC, so it's not like they're doing Vallejos any favors. They're not like, hey, we're giving you a can for your second UFC fight. It's like, no, we're going to give you another prospect. And I like Danny Silva's gas tank. I like his ability to mix punch combinations together. He's strong on the feet where Vallejos shines. A big difference maker in the two is the power, though. Vallejos has the gift of thudding shots. He also mixes it up better to like the body and to the head, whereas Silva, I feel like, is a little more headhunter based. I feel like we're going to see Vallejos land bigger shots and back Silva up. It's going to come down to Silva's chin getting tested for sure. Silva could get cracked by some bombs with Vallejos. I've been feeling Vallejos by KO throughout the week, but I do think Danny Silva is game. I mean, Lucas Almeida win by split decision. Kulabea win by split decision. Danny Silva's legit. He's 29 years. No, not even. He's 28 years old. He's young. He's entering his prime now, and he's a legit prospect to watch. I just think that Kevin Vallejos has that thing about him that we all think he's got that thing about him, to be honest. I think we're all wondering, like, just how good is this Kevin Vallejos prospect? I mean, he's carrying the El Chino nickname, like Marcos Maidana in boxing. He's got really good stand-up, and, I mean, even his loss to John Silva, he was expected to win that fight. He was the favorite. And then John Silva goes on to become a top contender and is now fighting the main event of Noche. So Vallejos has got good experience going out 3 rounds against Silva on Contender Series, winning his UFC debut against Sung Woo Choi. It was impressive in the way that he did it, though Sung Woo Choi is, getting knocked out all the time. Still, Vallejos handled it easily. Danny Silva, he definitely is not coming to lose. I expect Silva to look to make it a dog fight with Kevin Vallejos, and I think he could have some moments in the fight. I just think Vallejos is too powerful, though. I think Vallejos could end up dropping him. We'll find out everything about Danny Silva's chin, but if need be, okay, I don't think it's crazy for Kevin Vallejos to win 3 rounds and take it on the cards, or even in a competitive fight wins a decision. Like, I think Vallejos can win in a multitude of ways. I don't think it's just knockout. I just think the knockout stands out because he's a power hitter and he's taking on Danny Silva, who also is a good striker. And I think Vallejos is going to be able to cut off the cage and rip some big combinations to the body and head. Now, let's look at the scales between the two savages, because I think, we got to feel the energy of what we're looking at. All right, let's find out on the scales here. Let's shrink it down and let's find Kevin Vallejos first and foremost. 23-year-old savage coming in, great shape. The fucking biceps are freakish. Looks like 2 tennis balls in his fucking arms. He's got the rosary and the cross on. He's a faith-based fighter, man. These faith-based fighters, I'm telling you. I don't know if Danny Silva isn't, to be fair. I'm kind of just making my assumption from what I see at the damn weigh-in. But look on the other side. Danny Silva, he's got that stone-cold look to him. Danny Silva has a very cold energy, like ice in his veins vibes. He's coming in good shape, too. It's not like he's coming to lose. I'm telling you guys, 10-1 versus 15-1, both good prospects. I think that Vallejos is more the blue chip prospect. And at 23 years old, big things are expected from him. And I feel like he's going to live up to those big things. He also is like the perfect height to become a featherweight champ at 5'7". There's the face off between the two. Something that I found a little bit weird, and I don't know if you guys took notice of this. 144 and a half for Danny Silva. Vallejos at 146. Why did Danny Silva overly cut weight? I don't get that. Vallejos looks strong at the face off. The energy's high. Like Danny Silva looked dehydrated, man. I think Vallejos' confidence is high. His style is effective. And I don't think Danny Silva can win like a pitter patter boxing decision. I think big bombs are going to be exchanged. And I think the side of Kevin Vallejos is the one who's landing the bombs. He's minus 435 as a big favorite, but he goes out and wins. Plus 335 for Danny Silva. I think this is Vallejos incoming, but it's how. More than anything else, it's how. KO for Vallejos plus 105. Decision for Vallejos plus 175. Both are actually reasonable. I don't think it's crazy to say KO or decision for the side of Vallejos. What is that? Minus 350. Most likely it's KO or decision. If he ends up pulling a submission out of his ass, then he shows a different wrinkle to his game. Holy shit. Vallejos should dominate. Vallejos should drop Danny Silva, potentially put him away. But with a kid like Silva that's in good shape, 10-1 as a pro, on a win streak, 2-0 in the UFC. This is not a walk in the park. And it's interesting how they're testing Vallejos like that off rip. I kind of like it. They're like, you know what? Let's find out if he's legit or not. Let's not just build somebody up to just let us down. Instead, let's make him fucking work right away. And I think that Vallejos is going to end up shining under the lights here. And I think he's comfortable at the apex too, to be fair. And I think he's knocking Danny Silva out or winning a pretty clear decision. So Vallejos, W coming. Next fight on the card, we got Neil Magny versus Elizeu Zaleski. I have been picking the side of Neil. No, I've been picking Elizeu Zaleski. I almost said Neil Magny. I almost said I'm pick flipping. I was 50-50 on this one. The most real take that you guys will get from me is right now. I thought about changing my pick from Zaleski to Magny after I recorded my initial Sunday breakdown. But something tells me, man, Magny is a fucking flight risk. All right. Not saying he's going to pull out of the fight, but he could just have like a timid performance where he's just trying to clinch fuck and control Zaleski. Whereas I know for a fact Zaleski's going to be throwing big shots. He's sound in the defensive grappling. He's going to have a big power advantage. I think he's the better striker. Magny's a good workhorse and he's got good clinch pressure and control, but at the end of the day, Zaleski is the guy that has the threat of doing serious damage. That's what I feel. Like if somebody's getting cracked and put down, it's probably Magny cracked and put down. On the side of Zaleski, I think if anything from Magny, it will be like cage control and round win and hold him against the cage, try and take him down, but Zaleski defends. The reach advantage for Magny is interesting. He's going to have 7 inches in reach. And if you look, like Zaleski lost to similar framed, skinny, lanky build Randy Brown, but Brown's a better boxer. Chidi and Jakawani's got more dangerous Muay Thai. Magny's game is more like clinch pressure, man. He doesn't have much power. I don't think he's on point with the wrestling this fight. Yeah, I'm going Zaleski. I think he lands bigger shots, and Magny getting KO'd back to back. There's a chance Zaleski puts him out. I get it. Zaleski's coming off a knockout loss too. But I don't think Magny is like capable of knocking him out. I'll be shocked if Neil Magny is dropping hammers on Zaleski and KOing him. I don't see it. I think Magny is looking to control Zaleski, whereas Zaleski's looking to do damage. And I'm going to favor the fighter that I know is coming out to do more damage to his opponent as opposed to someone who's significantly more control-based than anything else. We'll look at the scales now. Let's check out Neil Magny. Skinny, shredded. I mean, looks like a typical Neil Magny, but you can see the years of wear and tear on him. You can see the years of wear and tear. Now, it's not like Zaleski doesn't have some wear and tear on him either. He's been in wars, but I feel like he's got more fire left. I don't know. Both of these guys, battle-tested veterans going after it. I like when you match up the guys towards their final phase. I think if there's a knockout, it's on the Zaleski side. I feel like Zaleski could chin this version of Neil Magny. I'm going Zaleski to win. I think Zaleski does more damage. Let's check out the face-off. Neil Magny, typical skinny, lean build. Zaleski with the intense stare. He looks like a true Brazilian Muay Thai instructor at this point. Zaleski's been doing this shit forever. I'm going to favor Zaleski. I think he's more explosive. I think that he punches harder. I think his striking is better. And I just don't see Magny taking him down and submitting him. And I don't see Magny just controlling him against the cage for 3 rounds. This is not a style I expect. I think Magny and Zaleski both close to the end, but Zaleski a bit more dangerous. And I got to favor the danger factor. Zaleski on the money line. Currently, he is sitting at -180 with Magny at +155. So not crazy odds separating the two of them here. It's like, how can I sell a Magny underdog? Flat tires, Magny as an underdog beats Zaleski because he's good at controlling people against the cage sometimes, but not really recently, but in his prime. You see what I'm saying? Whereas I'm like, Zaleski's kickboxing is dangerous. Zaleski's going to be looking to finish. I like Zaleski's chances. Zaleski to go out and win by KO +315. Zaleski to go out and win by a decision +160. KO or decision would make sense. The pick is Zaleski to pull through. Let's see what the significant strike numbers are. Over 53, -115. I don't know with the OGs. I don't know with the OGs. If Magny makes it close, it's -110. I do think if they go distance, he could take a round. I'm going to say Zaleski takes it home, but not a crazy spread on Magny, just not insane hype on it because we've seen Magny starched in his past 2 fights. I get it against power hitters and Michael Morales, who destroyed Gilbert Burns, and Carlos Prates, who's a savage. But at the end of the day, Zaleski brings a danger threat that just Magny doesn't have. So the favor of the side of Zaleski is the side that I will stay on. Zaleski to win in the battle of OGs and potentially knock Neil Magny out in this one. I definitely could see it. Next fight, the ladies going after it. We got Karol Rosa versus Nora Cornolle. I have been picking the side of Nora Cornolle all week. A little nastier, a little more ferocious. Comes from a striking background. Going to be better on the inside. I think she can put a higher paced fight out. Karol Rosa gets caught sparring out there. Like technically picks her shots from the outside, but it gets a little slow and plod heavy. On the opposite end, Cornolle and close landing big shots. I think could do big damage. Karol Rosa, I don't see her grapple fucking Nora Cornolle. Normally the risk with Rosa is her lackluster grappling game. Cornolle's coming off a submission win against Haley Cohen, even though she was controlled in the first round. She still got a sub in the second. The loss was to Cavalcanti on a split decision, but Cavalcanti's a technical maestro of kickboxing and literally the only woman that beat Cornolle. She's got 2 wins over Cornolle. I think that Cornolle does well with Rosa here. I think she lands some bigger shots. I think she's better in the red zone that, in the pocket boxing. I favor the side of Cornolle. And then with the elbows on the inside, more likely it's Cornolle landed them. In the battle of the clinch, I feel like Cornolle's going to have a physical strength edge. And I have a hard time seeing Rosa from that green zone, long range, landing teeps and just jabbing Cornolle's face off for 3 rounds. I expect Cornolle's pressure to ultimately wilt Karol Rosa, and I'm going to say Cornolle ends up taking it. I'm going to say unanimous decision, but she is going to slowly but surely break down Karol Rosa in this spot here. Now, as far as the scales, we'll bring the ladies up. We'll see what we're looking at here between these 2 savage ladies. All right, let's bring them up. Let's bring the ladies up on the screen. Let's give them their time to shine. All right, the ladies deserve some love too. All right, Nora Cornolle made 136 and she got emotional. She cried. If you remember, she missed weight by 2 pounds her last fight, and 2 fights before that, she also missed weight. Against Cavalcanti, she made weight and she lost. When she makes the limit, she loses, it seems like. That's the red flag of this fight. You can see, obviously a hell of a weight cut. The neck looks like it's shrunk down. She kind of looks like, I don't know, an aunt vibe. Very aunt vibes. At least, if you have European family members. That's the vibe I'm getting from the French woman here. But savage aunt. She's the angry aunt that's still got some fight left in her. I think that her striking should be better. It's just I have to sit here and have slight worries when you're literally celebrating, making weight, and crying as if you just won the fight. And then Karol Rosa with the new look, rocking the butch buzz cut. Something different for her, man. I'm surprised by the shaved sides. I don't know. I guess she's trying to be more aerodynamic. I feel like I might have had that same haircut in like the 7th grade. So shout out to the hair twin Hosa. I'm glad I've grown mine. As far as her, I mean, she looks in decent shape. Squint at her, and I'm like, I know who is that? You squint. Feeling like it's almost like a Forrest Griffin vibe with the ears, with the squint. I don't know. When you look at it straight, no. I don't know, man. I'm fucking talking all kinds of shit over here, but I think that Cornolle can win. I just really don't like the haircut of Hosa, is really what I'm saying. I think it was a mistake. She dropped aura points with this look. She did. She dropped aura points. But I guess when you see the side by side, I forgot she got the little bun on the side there. She got the bun on the side, but straight on, Jesus. Straight on, it's not the look. From the side, I respect it. Face off between the ladies, intense. I feel like Hosa ends up sparring a bit out there. Cornolle comes to dogfight. I'm going to go towards the dogfight. I'm going to go towards Cornolle as a dog. Plus 163 for Cornolle, minus 188 Hosa. The ladies probably go over 2.5. Minus 500 for the over 2.5. Significant strikes. Let's see what they look like. Significant over 71. Cornolle over 45.5. I say yes on the over 45.5 for Cornolle. You're looking for something like that. Cornolle to make it close. Plus 140. Spread to be within the 3.5. I agree. Let's see. Over, as I said. Cornolle on the cards. Decision is live. Plus 175. But why? Plus 163 money line. So if you do like the ladies fight, if you do like the nastier stand-up of Cornolle and you agree with me, you got a plus money tag that you can touch off rip. So the pick, Nora Cornolle, nasty on the inside, more dangerous in that red zone. And higher pace, man. I don't want to see the Karol Rosa sparring pace. I want to see a dogfight. And I think the side of Cornolle wins a dogfight. Next fight is our featured fight of the night. And speaking of dog fights, this could definitely be the fight of the night. Estevam Ribovics versus Elves Brenner. I have been picking Estevam Ribovics all week to take out the side of Elves Brenner. I think the striking advantage is going to show itself in this matchup here. Brenner's a good striker brawler, but definitely more on the brawler side. A little bit of a lack in head movement, and his defense isn't great, but he's got a good chin and he likes to use it. There's a lot of counters available on him because he throws shots and then he gets like off balance and out of range, just looking for big looping bombs. Does have better grappling though than Estevam Ribovics. An underrated asset is the ground skills of Elves Brenner. The problem is he comes from the shoot the box team where even if they have those grappling skills, they normally are looking to strike. And I believe that Estevam Ribovics is clearly the better kickboxer. He's got more power in his hands. He's the faster striker. He's the more explosive athlete. And I think he's just a more developing guy. 14-2, coming off the loss to Nasrat Haqparast in a fight that, in all honesty, could have gone either way. Opposite end, Brenner got destroyed by Yoel Alvarez. Fight before that, he gave a good one to Mitabek Orabai, losing a hard-fought decision. And he showed grappling skills, mounted Orabai and reverse in position. Brenner has legit jiu-jitsu skills, but does he take it there? Can he get Ribovics down? Maybe. Can he keep him down? Is he going to threaten with the grappling all night? Ribovics been riding high off back-to-back-to-back striking fights. You know, knocked out McKinney quick, beat Zellhuber in the back and forth, and had him hurt bad round number 3. And then most recently, lost a hard-fought decision to kickboxing stylist Nasrat Haqparast. If I am on Elves Brenner's team, I am saying, you better wrestle. I don't know, though, because shoot their box style is they like to come out striking first, and I can see him getting caught. I can see him getting rocked. I can see him falling in love with the firefight. And I think Estevam Ribovics wins the firefight. So my pick for this fight is going to stay Estevam Ribovics, but we got to check out the scale. We got to see how the Savages are looking. We got to feel the energy out between the two of them. All right. We'll first bring up whoever comes up first, which is Estevam Ribovics here. Estevam Swag Ribovics looking calm, cool, collected, and confident, in very good shape. pretty jacked. I think he's a very fine-tuned prospect. Athletic abilities, but also good timing on his shots. I mean, he's come a long way. The knockout of McKinney was sick. Ribovics is a savage, man, representing Kill Click FC. Then on the opposite side, you got Elves Brenner, shoot their box team. I don't know. He's been a letdown. I mean, how many of Brenner's fights has he been losing? Let's look. He wins against Zubaira Tuhugov. He could have lost that decision, but it's a win. All right. Losing to Garam, comeback KO. Knocks out Kainan Krucheski in one shot. All right. Loses a war with Mitabek Orabai, destroyed by Yoel Alvarez. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 out of the 5 UFC fights for him. There's been a lot of losing moments. I don't love that against Estevam Ribovics. I feel like Elves Brenner is a fun style, but I don't know how good he truly is, man. It's tough to say how good he truly is. We'll bring up the face-off and we'll see. All right? Let's feel the energy. Intensity is high between the two. Estevam Ribovics staring into the soul of Elves Brenner as they get ready to partake in, I think, probably the fight of the night. I like Ribovics' hands a lot more than Brenner in this one. I think he lands some thunderous shots. I think Brenner is a tough out for anybody outside of like that top 20, but I see Ribovics baiting him into a brawl and maybe even putting him down. Brenner's got a nice will to win, but he did get wilted bad, though. To be fair, Alvarez broke him with the knees in the clinch, like the over-under knees, and like Brenner just went down. I see Ribovics winning. I think it could be a decision, but a KO is not crazy. Minus 250 for the side of Ribovics, plus 210 for the side of Brenner. Yeah, you guys know my call. It's none other than Esteban Ribovics. Over a round and a half, minus 300. I think that is live. Ribovics by KO is plus 190. It's a possibility. Ribovics by a decision, plus 150. Both likely outcomes. Ribovics money line, probably better. KO or decision is the same as the money line. Ribovics over 89.5, minus 115. Does he land 90 significant strikes? Fuck it. I say yes. I say yes. Fuck it. He lands 90 significant strikes. Does Brenner land 53? I don't know. His accuracy is not great, but if they're engaging in a firefight all night, maybe. Brenner over 1.5 takedowns at plus 110. You might just want to play that. Plus, if you're like looking to play certain props like that, simply because Ribovics did get taken down 11 times in his fucking debut. I'm going with Ribovics. I assume his grappling's gotten a lot better, and Brenner might get him down a couple of times, but I don't know, man. I think the problem with Brenner is he's a brawler. Maybe don't even touch that plus 110 for the over 1.5 takedowns. The problem is Brenner's a brawler, man. As much as he's got some grappling skills, he likes to engage in violent striking fights. I don't think his takedowns are that good. And I think Esteban Ribovics should be able to stop Brenner's attacks and land bigger shots. I'm going to go Ribovics to win the back and forth war. Next fight, co-main event of the evening. It's Chris Duncan versus Mateusz Rąbeszki. I've been picking the side of Mateusz Rąbeszki all night. I've been picking the side of the R-Man, Mr. Savagery himself, Mateusz Rąbeszki, to do some big motherfucking damage, to land some thunderous shots on Chris Duncan. I think Chris Duncan is being overrated as fuck right now. He's okay. His kickboxing solid. His ground skills are solid. But Mateusz Rąbeszki's got high-level grappling skills. He's got big power in his hands. He's a heavy-hitting southpaw. Yeah, Chris Duncan's going to have the height and reach advantage, but who doesn't have height and reach over Mateusz Rąbeszki? He's used to giving up this type of range. I really think that Rąbeszki with the bruiser pressure style is going to land some big shots on Duncan. How do they match up in the kickboxing arsenal? I mean, Duncan's got decent striking, and he can pepper some straights out there and move and try and grapple with Rąbeszki, but I think he's going to be at the disadvantage of physicality. I think Rąbeszki punches harder. I think Rąbeszki can stop the takedown attacks. I really think Mateusz Rąbeszki is going to beat Chris Duncan. I feel like Duncan is like the people's dog. Not here, 17%, but I'm hearing a ton of people loving Duncan in the chats. My argument is, look at the wins. Balaji, okay, but who is Balaji compared to Mateusz Rąbeszki? And he caught him with a quick gilly. Jordan Vucenic. Vucenic lost to fucking Huta Taladze, then got cut from the UFC after this loss to Duncan. Quick loss to Manuel Torres. I think Mateusz Rebecki's got this shit, man. I think he could land some big shots on Chris Duncan. We've seen Duncan hurt before. Duncan was dropped bad by Charlie Campbell, knocked out by Slava Claus. I feel like Mateusz Rebecki could also do the damage and put him away. He's coming off of a legendary war against Mitabek Orabai, but Orabai showed to be one of the toughest human beings on the planet in that fight as he got his eye shut and was getting cracked with bombs and got dropped multiple times and is just fighting off fucking instinct. Most guys can't do that. When Mateusz Rebecki lands, people feel it. I mean, he's got knockout power. He's got submission threats. He's got pretty much everything you'd like for, a little mini-size lightweight prospect on the come-up right now. 32, so he's on his way to contendership. I feel like Rebecki should handle Chris Duncan. I'm not sold on the Chris Duncan hype, man. I think Rebecki could thud him off with big shots. I think Duncan gets a little wild on the feet too. So even if Duncan tries to engage in grappling and then has a little success, I could see him start to fatigue round 2 and throw wild shit. Not that Rebecki doesn't fatigue, but when both of them are fatigued, I say higher chance that Duncan's getting knocked the fuck out as opposed to the contrary. So my pick is Mateusz Rebecki to drop some hammers on Chris Duncan, and I do think he's eventually going to put him away. I'm going Rebecki, knockout win, and I feel like Chris Duncan is being overrated by a bit, man. He's all right. I'm not saying he's bad, but it's not like anything he's done lately tells me he's ready for this level of a test. Mateusz Rebecki on the scale. Look at him. Looking like a jack little pit bull, man. Dude's just a ball of freakish muscle. Come on, dog. Got Chris Duncan with his Lucky Charms. I actually don't know what that is. Looks like his Lucky Charms. Looks in decent shape. Definitely there's a fucking disparity in the muscle mass, but hey, it ain't a bodybuilding show. Still, Rebecki punches a lot fucking harder. And then we'll look at the face-off. You see the height difference? It favors Duncan by a bit. Duncan looked intense at the face-off, staring into Rebecki's soul. Duncan gave me the vibe of somebody that's offended. He gave me the vibe of somebody that's upset. He gave me the vibe of somebody who's like, I'm pissed that you said you wanted to fight me. We trained together. What the fuck is that? On the opposite side, Rebecki gives me the vibe of like, hey, I'm here to win fights. I don't give a fuck. I'm here to do damage. I don't give a fuck. And he seemed like he was taking it less personal. Duncan looked pissed off. I feel like Rebecki's going to catch him on the chin. I feel like Rebecki called him out for a reason. He likes the matchup, and I think it's a matchup that favors him. So my pick here is going to be Mateusz Rebecki to pull through, and I think he could end up clubbing Duncan with some shots and put him down. Minus 210 for Rebecki, Duncan plus 180. I think that the power side of Rebecki should be a key differential between the two. Let's see. Rebecki by KO sits at plus 180. I like Rebecki by KO. Let's see. Scorecards, no action, Rebecki. Minus 200. Yeah, I think he gets a finish. I think he does. I think Rebecki finishes him. I'm saying he's landing big thunderous shots and maybe putting down Duncan. Most significant strikes, the battle favors Rebecki minus 175. I'll say yes. KO for Rebecki plus 180. I could see him shutting the lights off of Duncan. Duncan's definitely gotten better, but how much better? He's beaten Jordan Vucenic and Balaji. How can you tell that he's going to beat Mateusz Rebecki with those fights? You see what I'm saying? My pick is Rebecki and Rebecki to do damage. I'll call him by violence. All right? Rebecki, KO win. This one here. Let's keep running up. Let's jump to the main event. You guys haven't, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe it up. We got Tatsuro Taira versus Hyun Sung Park. I have been picking the side of Tatsuro Taira throughout the week. I felt as though the grappling skills should show themselves, even against Park, who's dangerous. Park, who can box well. Park, who seems to grapple well, too. I think Taira has a different level of elite BJJ for MMA that I feel like is still developing. And his stand-up's underrated. 4-inch reach advantage. He's got pretty fast straight shots. He's got a great ability to drag fights to the ground. He's got an amazing ability to control the back. And he just understands how to maneuver his opponents with those back takes. Like, yeah, he had a hard fight against Brandon Royval. Well, Royval, top contender. I mean, look at him. Just went tooth and nail with Joshua Van in a back-and-forth war. Taira is right there amongst the elites in the division. Park on the other side, 10-0, but has fought no ranked opposition. Wins are Sunguk Choi for the road to UFC finale. And he won, and he was impressive. He got the third round sub, but he was on his back a bit and, got knocked off balance a couple of times. Shannon Ross, who he destroyed, who's never won a UFC fight or a Contender Series fight. And Carlos Hernandez, who he looked like a killer against. And I have nothing but respect for that performance because he looked awesome. But has never beaten a top 15 guy. Hasn't fought anyone yet. I mean, look at Taira's resume, all right? Jesus Aguilar win. Say what you want about Jesus Aguilar. To go out and submit him, I respect it. Jesus Aguilar is a fucking Mexican dog. Edgar Chairez decision. He was locked in a late ghillie by Chairez, but he dominated a majority of that fight. Carlos Hernandez, he puts him down, right? Finishes him off. Similar impressiveness to Park. Able to end up injuring Alex Perez and beat him. Competitive affair early in round number 1, but Taira is the one who did the damage and got the finish. And then a split decision war with Brandon Royval, and I picked Royval heading into it. These two key fights right here, man. Even the Aguilar won 3. Even the Chairez won 4. Like, biggest fight, Carlos Hernandez. Okay, we also have a dominant win for Taira over Hernandez. These two are non-factor fights. These guys are levels below all of this opposition. Everybody on the screen there defeats these two guys as well. That's not to shit on Hyun-Sung Park. He was impressive in those fights, but he's got one good UFC win, and it's a Carlos Hernandez who had already been pulverized by Taira. I feel as though Tatsuro Taira is going to show Hyun-Sung Park the levels in jiu-jitsu. I think that he's going to be able to take Park's back, and I think he's live to submit him in the later stage. I think striking-wise, Park can mix it up a bit with the boxing. I think on the ground, Park could be defensively sound, but eventually get his back taken. We don't know how Park's going to fare with somebody who has the offensive grappling threat by Taira at all. We don't know. Hasn't fought anyone near Taira's level. We're about to find out everything come Saturday, come tomorrow. And I'm going to say Taira gets his hand raised and pulls off the submission. And let me tell you, this is the battle of Asian flyweights on the come up. Park representing Korea, Taira representing Japan. This is an amazing fight. I think this is extremely high level in the flyweight division. And I feel like Park still has a top 15 future, but I think he's biting off more than he can chew here, taking a short notice fight against Taira. I know he was booked to fight Urseg next week. This is a different matchup, man. Taira's ground skills are hyper elite, and I think he showcases them, and I think this is his best performance to date. I think he looks better. I think he learns a lot from the Royval fight, and this is the best Taira we've ever seen. And I'm saying to true Taira pulls through. I think submission is going to be number 1 pick. Could see them going all 5. We've yet to see Park in a 5-rounder like this. We don't know how he's going to look in the later stage. Seems to be in very good shape. Seems like he won't have conditioning woes, but you don't know that until you get there. There's Tatsuro Taira. He's got one red eye from this angle. Looking shredded up in good shape. Very anime character-like. Got those skinny-ass arms that are perfect to lock up submissions. The opposite side, there's Park. Looking pretty jacked up and in shape, too. A little more muscle on the arms, a little shorter arms. Not going to have that same sub-threat, but he's got good boxing in the pocket, and I give credit where it's due, and obviously he knows how to grapple well. Let's look at the face-off. Let's feel the energy. Height similar between the two. I mean, Park looks legit when they faced off. I thought that immediately when they faced off. I'm like, okay, Park. I'm like, he looks good sized. Doesn't seem undersized at all. Height, pretty much the same between the two of them. Longer arms on the side of Taira. I think that assists in the grappling. Both guys in good shape, but Park, he doesn't know this level yet. He's never had it. He's an aura of innocence about him, never having faced somebody like this. I'm favoring the side of Tatsuro Taira to go out there and get a fucking win. And I'm going to say a submission win. Minus 330 for Taira. Park sitting at plus 270. I think Taira is live to sub, but it wouldn't be crazy if it's a decision. Wouldn't blow my mind. Can you imagine he knocks him out? Over a round and a half, probably. That is minus 310. Taira to win by submissions plus 135. Submission plus 135. Decision plus 250. Anything catching my eye here? Most takedowns, Taira, 7-1. Most significant strikes, Taira 2-1. Over 50 significant, -115. Over 38 for Park, -115. I feel like it could be around these numbers. I think Taira wins this shit. I do. I think Taira looks pretty good doing it. Wow, for Park to make it competitive, they're saying -200 if he's within the 5.5. Huh. I think Taira might sub him. Submission or decision, I don't know. It really is going to depend upon like how good is the grappling defense of Park. There's a lot of things we don't know about Park. We know he can box in the pocket. We know he has an offensive grappling threat. We know he's a dangerous, undefeated prospect on the come up right now. But I think Taira's more battle tested. And I'm going to favor the battle tested side. And Taira was like the hyper elite prospect on the come up, looking like the future of flyweight just a fight ago. And now he loses a split decision with Royval and everybody's jumping ship. That's crazy to me. But true Taira submission win over Hyung Sung Park is going to be my prediction in this one. And I think he's going to end up showing that he's gotten better since that last fight against Royval, and the game is still evolving. And at 25, I see him most likely as an eventual, at the worst, title challenger. But he's in the running to be Japan's first UFC champ. Also said he'd like to fight Kai Asakura at Saitama after this one. How fucking amazing would that fucking be? A fight night main event in Saitama Super Arena. Taira versus Asakura. I'm slurring my words over here, guys. My God, I'm so excited. The slurs and impediments are all the excitement moving faster than my fucking mouth is, all right? I want to see an event at Saitama, and I hope the UFC brings just a tiny bit of Pride FC flair. Why not? I know Dana won't allow it. But they should. Just for a throwback. Taira to win over Park, the prediction. I'll say submission, but it could also be a decision. Ultimately, I think we're going to get levels shown by Taira as he's able to out-grapple Park, and I think he'll compete fairly well in striking. Could get caught in the pocket a bit by Park's multi-shot combinations and close, maybe rips to the body and shots up high, but I think Taira is able to survive those onslaughts, engage in grappling on his own or straight punches from range and create space, and I think ultimately Taira eventually gets to the kill spot, which is the back of Park, and I think he's live to strangle him. So Taira to win the main event. Those are the predictions for UFC Vegas 108. We're not done yet, though. I want to quickly discuss the parlay. So Vallejos, Ribovics, safe but boring still there. Obviously throwing Souza as a dog in some. You can line it up. I just want to show you all, for those that haven't seen, the foursome, the Rosa Cornolle over, the Souza Rodriguez over, and then Pulyaev Ribovics if you want plus 244. The Savage 3, Souza, Vallejos, and Ribovics plus 385. There's some ways you can spin things, all right? There's some ways you can make things happen here. Taira, Souza over, Rosa Cornolle -107. That seems very live too. But I didn't want to leave you guys high and dry. I told you guys I wanted to create a parlay for the people that was, based upon the props and the value side. People have asked me, they said, yo, can you do something with a submission threat? So we can touch maybe Bashi by submission. This is option A, but it doesn't have to be your end-all be-all. Ribovics via KO, I also think is live, plus 475. And then a decision win in the mix of it all. Where's our decision winner? Who do I want to put for the decision win? I was thinking about putting Ketlen straight dog plus 1539, but you want to take it another fucking level. You go Ketlen Souza via decision. You got plus 2,258 if you like Souza decision, Ribovics KO, Bashi submission. Now, if you don't want to touch Bashi submission, maybe you think he ends up getting a ground and pound finish or something like that. I get the mentality because he could end up doing something along those lines. Just from Beshki KO and Souza decision sits at plus 1130. So some degen shit. But if you feel like Taira's going to get the sub, which I know some people are feeling that side heavy, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm thinking, yeah, you're probably onto something. Taira by submission plus 165. You're at plus 3,160. Now, if you still want to decide a Bashi by sub, maybe you're believing it's a sub night. This is Danger Zone USA because he could get a TKO plus 6,150. This is just degen shit. All right? This is just degen shit. But if you want to do something post weigh-in that I was like, this could end up coming through nicely. Taira to win, all right, at minus 333 and fucking Ribovics. I like these two after the weigh-ins. I felt good about the vibes. You probably felt the energy too. If you're thinking about maybe you want to add one more to it, you're like, yo, give me Souza as the dog. Now you got plus 447. Want to take it a leg farther? You want to add in Estevam plus 666. Lucky number 666. All right. There's a little late 4 leg for you savages. Anything else you're feeling? Who do you want to add in? Who's calling your name? You want to throw the side of Bashi in? You get plus 784. It's worth it if you got a fat line like that. You see where I'm headed. All right. The parlays from Wednesday were money, but those are some post weigh-in looks. Pulyaev could also be added in plus 1373. We're going D-Gen though. This D-Gen is fucked. What happens with the parlays when I do them live? It just turns into D-Gen City. But these are the calculated and thought out shit from Wednesday. If you want to go something different though, we didn't even put Vallejos in this one. What am I doing? I got to put Vallejos too. Now you got plus 1716. Let me show you real quick. Plus 1716. But if you like Vallejos a lot and you're thinking, yo, man, I don't know, maybe you got a bad feeling about Ribovics. I know a few folks are liking Brenner. Maybe you want to go Taira and Vallejos to pull through. It's minus 166. It's safe, but even more boring. At the end of the day, it's about if it hits more than anything else. And if you added Rembeshki plus 137, which is actually pretty coincidental, minus 137 Vallejos Ribovics, maybe you need the plus 137 Taira Vallejos Rembeshki. I don't know. Just an idea. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. All right. Bet intelligently. Do your own research. See where it lines up with mine. Don't just blindly tail. But if you have been blindly tailing, 6 out of the past 7 weeks, all plus money, Lock City's been hitting. And this week, we're going straight female savage Brazilian underdog lock with Ketlen Souza. So I'm excited for it. Join me live for the card, 6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, Saturday. So I'm looking forward to it all. W in the comments, you got nothing to say, but definitely let me know what you thought of the picks. Smash the likes. If you're new to the channel, subscribe it up and turn the post notifications on too. You don't want to miss a video or a live stream. I got daily content. And if you really enjoyed it, make sure you share it as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Much love. Peace out.